do the turning.
No, other way. Okay, just leave it there a minute, because it'll take a minute for it to, okay. A little more.
Is it on?
And it needs to, I think, no, it needs to go that way more, I think. No, but turn. No, other way. The camera needs to, see where the eye is, needs to be pointing more.
We're getting off Swamini, I'm thinking.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
And they can go yesterday.
Ah, okay, they can go in the washing machine now. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Actually, you can turn it a little more to the same way you're going. Okay.
I'd like to open the legs to wide for the strongest, steadiest. And then,
Okay.
oh, I see you have a problem because of the amount of space.
You can make it as tall as possible. Oh, actually, no, you've turned it back again. It needs
Yeah,
to
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Andrew's logged in. Andrew, if you can hear me, you're logged in as Swamini. Can you log out of the live stream and go in without being logged in as Swamini? Thank you.
all right, Amy.
Yeah, good.
What am I doing? Do you know how to set this up to record?
I used to.
Start it. It's now on, so everybody can hear us talking. Record meeting, and just type Viparīta Bhāvanā. Viparīta Bhāvanā.
Yes. What time is it right now? I woke up, so now.
Oh, we'll do that later. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Back to the old place.
Don't get too used to it.
Thank you, that's beautiful. Oh.
Nivṛtti needs to go up. Let me just,
See that again?
it's on pause.
Nivṛtti needs to go up.
Nivṛtti can come here.
Will it fit there?
I don't know.
Okay.
You can put the whole thing here.
The
Whole
whole
thing can come here.
Oh, over the other side?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Well, Nivṛtti has no problem. It can
And
be
then
all
Nivṛtti
there.
can sit there.
Yes.
Let's put this one on.
Sri Hari.
Live stream people, I'm dizzy.
You feel dizzy?
just have to look around.
That's
Your
perfect.
view is, it's badly angled.
It's fine.
Just make we'll put this away so we'll have a little more space.
Perfect.
You just go a little
That way, the camera. Perfect.
Sheila.
She'll come this way.
Yeah. Om Sahanavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The topic of patterns and how one deals with them in Vedanta is an advanced topic. Yeah. Because in the beginning, one doesn't even know that there are patterns. So ingrained they are that they are confused to be one's nature. So there's the overlay of the nature, which is what? Satchidananda. And Satchidananda is free to sport these patterns. Very sporting of it. But if this is not understood, we take the game too seriously. One takes the game too seriously and one feels that overlay, or that as though patina, which is, what is the word for patina in Sanskrit? Adhyasa. Adhyaropa. That is more appropriate when we talk of rope and snake. Ropa. Ropa and sneka. So, what is interesting is that the patina is seen to be the reality by the observers outside, the people who interact with the veneered jiva, and by the observer inside too. Here, the observer, we are not talking of the sakshi per se, but the ahankara, which says, this is who I am. How many times, people say this? How many times, This word is familiar. This is what I am. I am as I am. Take me or leave me. This is who I am. And then when you unpack, this is who I am, it's amazing what all comes out. Comes out means, does it really belong? Totally, laughable if one is in a position to laugh. Or one can have a good cry over it first before getting to the place of laughing. And, so therefore this is an advanced topic, because in the beginning that overlay is not noticed. And yesterday we talked about samskarya, the action of cleaning the copper pot. But suppose the copper pot is tarnished and there's not a tamarind in sight to clean it or a rind of a lemon, and it is, let us also assume, in conversation with, in the company of other equally tarnished copper pots, it has no way of knowing that this is even a patina, that this doesn't belong. This is not I. In fact, Anatma has as though taken over the Atma of the copper pot, the Anatma in the form of the tarnish, which is a result in the case of the copper pot, due to exposure to the various elements. How we wish that was the case for the human being also. It would be convenient. As long as I'm in an insulated vacuum cupboard, I'm okay. And it is the fault of all the elements and the people around that are making me tarnished. And so they need this lecture on on how not to contribute to all these patinas and tarnishes. I don't need this lecture because I'm okay. And I wish it was so convenient. I wish it was like that, so that we didn't have to worry about it. We can just point the finger, moving finger. And then when all else fails, you point it up. I don't know why up. They think Bhagavan is up somewhere, up on high. So that's why this is an advanced topic. Because the hope and the expectation, I suppose, for one to be even interested in this topic and to want to listen to this, is that one is in a place of recognizing that there is a patina. That's enough for us. That there is a patina, paterna, whatever it is. And B, even though one may not know immediately what it is and how, it manifests all the time, there is a willingness to be able to observe it dispassionately. These are the two criteria that come a little later in the study. And this is in the case of the adhikaris. Adhikari means a person who is qualified for this study, equipped with everything that we have studied so far, a resolved mind, this, that, so many things. And if we look at the ancient texts, Upanishads, Puranas, etc., and if we look at the adhikaris that we encounter there, we see that there is a slight difference. And what is the difference? So, they seem to be what in the Shastra is called Uttama Adhikari. Uttama means exalted adhikaris, meaning, that before they come to the teacher, the patina is not just recognized but eliminated. This is Uttama Adhikari. So there is no point in talking of, patinas because it's not there. Why spend time talking of something that's not there? So they come, brilliant as the sun, and the teacher, of course, is brilliant as the sun, and the teacher recognizes the brilliance, and they shine together. Tejasvinau adhitam astu. This is what we pray. Except it doesn't sound like that because the grammar, sandhis are different. It may not even sound familiar unless I chant it like this. Tejasvinavadhitamastu. No, yeah, I know that. I have heard of that. Actually, it is Tejasvi now, which means right now. No. Now it means for us. Adhitam, our studies, may the studies for us. Tejasvi astu adhitam, may our studies be brilliant. This is, it is a prayer, an expressed desire for the teacher and the student to work in harmony for the teaching to take place, so that there is brilliance all over. So in the ancient times, there was not the need for this so much, perhaps, as we see from the Upanishads, because, I'm not trying to set up some kind of a romantic past, some spiritual romantic past. It was wonderful then, and what's wrong with us now? And no. So the reference to the ancient times is because we have the Upanishads which talk about adhikaris in who were slightly different from the kinds that we encounter now. And that's because the Upanishad deals with the ideal types, so that we have a standard to follow. And that's important, because part of the problem in Kali Yuga, in the current day, is not having role models to follow. The leadership is lacking. Yeah, to say the least. Everywhere you look, there is so much wanting. There's so much one is missing. And so therefore, the Upanishads give us Amaitreyi. Upanishads give us Gargi, Lopamudra, Yagyavalkya, Shvetaketu, Narada, all these people that they are not meant for comparison. When we start comparing ourselves to Shvetaketu, there is reason for depression. Immediately. Because by modern standards, Shvetaketu needed only 9 classes before he said he understood completely. Only 9 classes because after the first class, what we consider class, that only was 3 sentences, but let's be generous over here. By the time it's unpacked and unfolded and everything, okay, 1 class. He said to his father, who turned into his teacher, Bhuya eva Bhagavan Vijñāpayatu. Please, oh sir, revered sir, can you please unfold that again? Because he didn't understand. And then again and again. And he only said this 8 times. That means 9 classes. And so, it's not meant for comparison. Because, understand that when that comparison takes place, what is it that is doing the comparison is what needs to be addressed. What is doing the comparison is part of that patina. So instead, characters in the Upanishad like Yajnavalkya, Maitreyi, Shvetaketu, etc. are to be seen as role models to aspire to follow. And then it is seen and understood in the way that it is meant. So that we don't, I don't know how else to say it, run the pattern in our study of the Upanishad. This is important. So, the Upanishad has a wide array of Uttama Adhikaris. Some of them did not even need teaching, hardly. Like Satyakama, a young fellow who goes to the teacher and he is very, very, very brilliant. Brilliant not just in the sense of having, what's the word for it, brains or intellect. Brilliant in the sense of having hardly any ragadveshas, a clear antahkarna, transparent, free of the fog of, the overlay of patterns, some of them very deep set. And he was available for the knowledge. But yet, he was not spared from cow duty. You know cow duty? Think about that. If he had to go to cow duty, what does it say for us? So he goes to the teacher and he says, I would like to gain this knowledge. And the teacher hands him 1 cow, just 1 cow. He doesn't even know whether it's male or female. And he's told, don't come back until it becomes 1,000. And it's not just adding zeros. 1 is there and add 3 zeros. No. Don't come back, the teacher says. In other times we have seen the key to the cowshed is given. For the student who was aspiring the key to how to lead the life. This is not the key to Satchidananda, it is the key to what? The stables. That's why it's called stable, because that's where you go to get stability. Because who goes in the stable is very unstable as a student. So here, such a brilliant student, and we don't know if it's the same Satyakama in the other Upanishad, but it sounds to be the same, who was raised by a single mother, Jabala, and who didn't know who his father was. And he desired to go to the Gurukula and, to some kind of a open house where they were doing all kinds of interviews, and he sought his mother's blessings. He says, I'm going to go, I'd like to go, But they'll ask the father's name. Who was my father? Who is my father? She says, I really don't know. You've been busy working as a maid in so many people's houses. I have no idea who your father is. And he goes, and in front of all the students and all the parents that had come to leave the students there, when asked by the teacher, what is your gotra, what is your lineage, who is your father? And the mother also tells him, but you tell everybody that you are Jabala's son and you take my last name. From now on, you are known as Satyakama Jabala. Perhaps the first instance of the mother giving her last name in history. And he goes and he repeats exactly, without any shame, without any pride, without any worries. He just repeats it. He says, my mother worked in many people's houses, so she doesn't know who the father is, but she told me that she has raised me to be an honest boy, and my name is Satyakama Jabala, so for my last name you write my mother's name. And the teacher is so happy. He has tears in his eyes. He embraces the young boy and he says, if you are not qualified for this knowledge, I don't know who is. And then later on in the same Upanishad, we see him asking the teacher for this knowledge, presumably after studying the chanting and all these other things, doing the first portion of the Veda. And the teacher says, this is a different story of the same boy, perhaps. And the teacher says, don't come back till this one cow is 1,000. And even someone as brilliant as Satyakama sits down because he's a little depressed. He's like, what is this? When will this cow become 1,000? I hope it's pregnant. We don't know. I hope it's expecting at least one baby. How am I going to go back? But a lot of things come to his aid. First he meets, he has a strange kind of a ferocious meow, and he wonders what it is. And it's an injured lion with a big thorn or a nail in its paw that's getting septic. And not a very nice sight because, it's in pain, but it's a lion. And the lion tells him, why are you looking so sad? Such a small, cute boy with a cow. Why do you look so sad? And he says, because, I have to make this cow into 1,000. And, he also perhaps said, and maybe you are looking at it as your lunch. Where will I go? So the cow says, you know what, we just grow mutually, and right now I have this thorn in my paw. You remove it, and I'll teach you about Brahman. Don't worry, you want Brahman. I'll teach you a little bit. And this brave boy goes and yanks out the nail out of the foot of the lion, and he gets a little lesson in Brahman, whatever the lion knew. Unlike this, then he meets, we have 2-3 things like this. Then he meets a crane with a fish bone stuck in its throat. Same thing, a heron. And he removes the bone and learns a little more about Brahman. And then he meets, I forget the third one, he also helps another animal or tree or plant in distress and gets another piece of this knowledge. And then, miraculously, there is an abandoned herd of cows. And he looks to the left, looks to the right, is there anybody there, who does it belong to? And he watches them for a whole day and they don't seem to have an owner. And he says, come on, boys and girls, and they obediently follow him. And he goes to the teacher, and the teacher is so thrilled with him. And the teacher says, your face shines with knowledge. Tell me what you know. And he says, no, you tell me what you know, that's why I'm here. You know, a very beautiful story. And what we learn from this is that, what patterns, what habit, where? It's just, it's all to show that the teaching is not difficult. It's very simple. And life itself is a teacher in the sense of, not Shvetaketu, what's his name? Satyakama's, encounters with the animals. The lion is a, sign of ferociousness, anger, intractable emotions, which he conquered. He conquered the fear of those by attending to that. And the heron is a sign of, both patience, because it waits for a long time, and also a certain kind of a avarice, greed, because it ate fast and indiscriminately put things down its throat, could not assimilate, could not stomach it, So like this, it's going, all that happens in a week in his life, but we have to see that this is a kind of a wonderful blueprint to show how one's encounter with all the things in the Jagat, animate, inanimate, people, objects, are very important and can teach one to go deeper in this study, in this knowledge. So we'll come back to this a little later. But for now, this is what is the Uttama Adhikari. The Uttama Adhikari appears to need only Shravanam. Shravanameva Mukhya Sadhanam Mokshaya. Understood, right? Yeah. So can I just talk in Sanskrit the rest of the talk? Yeah. Mukhya Sadhanam, the primary means, Mokshaya, for liberation, for freedom. From what? From these very, sticky patterns that we are talking about. Very sticky. Like tar, So, freedom from samsara is freedom from patterns. That's what reproduces samsara. It's a proliferation that is happening within the ahankara, not without. Within the antahkarana. And so, therefore, mokshaya, for liberation, from what? From these patterns. Shravanameva alam, enough. Shravanam itself is enough, is the sufficient and necessary cause for freedom from samsara. What is Shravanam? Listening to what? Music. Yeah. What kind of teachings? Yeah. The teachings of the Upanishad, handled by somebody who has been taught. That is important. Because otherwise you just sit and listen to the teachings and nothing happens, and that's because, we have to look at how it is handled, if it is handled at all. So, that is enough for liberation. This is what we get from the Upanishads. That's why the Adhikaris don't appear to need anything else. Because the Upanishad is not trying to compare the Adhikaris and say, we have Shvetaketu, you don't have that, and you can never be Shvetaketus, and down with the modern Adhikaris. That's not what the Upanishad is trying to say. Neither is the Upanishad trying to set up some kind of a impossible act to follow. That's not its purport and its intention. The purport and intention of the Upanishad in repeatedly showcasing these Uttama Adhikaris, these exalted students of knowledge, is to drive home the fact that listening to Vedanta is the primary cause for freedom from bondage, from the notion of bondage, and is the sufficient cause, nothing more is needed. Shravanam is it. Then, supposing someone says Shravanam isn't enough. There is a little scope to say that. Also, there is space made to say that. There is space made to see that because we see that clearly in Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi dialogue. Atmavai are drashtavyaha. The Atma has to be seen means as though clearly, as though you are looking at it. Not that you have to look at it, because you can't. It's you. But the Atma has to be clearly seen, as in clearly understood. Darshanaya kim kartavyam. What should I do to be able to, as though, see it clearly? Atmava are shrotavyaha. Are means honey. He's talking to his wife. Atmavai are shrotavyaha. So what should I do? In order to understand the Atma, I have to listen to it. And when that is not enough, that should be enough, because we see the example, of Shvetaketus, Satyakamas, so many, students. Indra, Narada, everybody. We see them gaining this knowledge after, 1 or 2 classes and getting up and going. So, supposing the Shravanam is not enough, then obviously there is something in the way. There is something not quite right. With what? With the teacher? Possible. If so, change the teacher. But if the teacher is fine, there is no need to change the teacher. Then what? Then we have to see what is the inhibiting factor that is standing in the way of my enjoying this knowledge. Atmavare mantavyaha mananam kartavyaha. So do this thing called mananam, which is not instead of Shravanam, because mananam without Shravanam is dangerous. Mananam means meditation, thinking and having opinions about the Upanishad without Shravanam is bad, because that means you are trying to interpret the Upanishads with the same patina that you are wanting to get rid of. How is that going to work? So mananam means, the removal of what we talked yesterday, or day before, samshaya. The word samshaya, sam, very well, shaya, sleeping. We think of doubts as active. And actively, drilling a hole in the brain and not letting us concentrate and worrying and whatnot. But the Upanishad has its own way, the language has its own way of defining the word doubt. Doubt means when you're sleeping to your nature. That's all it is. Nicely sleeping to the reality that one is supposed to be living. Samyak shayanam, really. So samshaya is doubt, and the removal of doubt is an important process when the Shravanam is not enough. Don't say when the Shravanam does not work. It works. It's working. But, it's like, one is not like that Bob, the one who's got a sponge. Ah, ah. So one is not like that sponge to absorb. So what if there is, instead of a sponge, there is something that is actually repelling the knowledge? Not only not absorbing but repelling, because there is a covering that whatever. And so that means the first way of dealing with this is doubt removal. Samshaya Nivṛtti. And the doubt removal is always during, asking questions, talking about what is one not understood. And usually the same people will have the same questions forever. And we see this in Arjuna. Same question. The question that starts in the 3rd chapter, beginning of the 3rd chapter. That's how it starts. Oh, that doesn't sound like Sanskrit. I'm translating it. I'm doing an emotional translation. That's exactly how it sounds. Yayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhirjanardana tattim karmani gore mam niyojayasi keshava yamishrena vakyena buddhim mohayasi vame tadekam vadanishchite yena shreyoham apnuyam. You need a translation. You got it. I told you I can get away with talking in Sanskrit the rest of the time. Oh, if you say that karma binds and knowledge frees, why are you asking me to do this terrible karma, which has made me freeze instead of made me free? So 3rd chapter, 5th chapter, same thing again, same question. Now he dresses it up a little bit. He's wearing a frock, So, tell me about sannyasa. If the whole point is to give everything up, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to fight? Why can't I just, Kurukshetra, which is on the outskirts of Delhi, and Haridwar, where half the people are in orange, is not very far. I can go there, sit under a tree. That's what I want. He didn't want that for the last 12 years when he could have wanted that. He was sitting in a forest, chafing at the bit to get to Duryodhana and slay him. He was so bloodthirsty. And his wife Draupadi was even more bloodthirsty than him, literally, because she had been, her reputation has been desecrated in this big sabha, in this big assembly. She had been dragged by Duryodhana's brother, Dushasana. Please understand, nobody names their children Dushasana, badly behaved. His name must have been Sushasana, but because of his behavior, it became Dushasana. Similarly, Duryodhana must have been Suyodhana, and it has changed in keeping in accordance with their demeanors and behaviors. Sushasana was never Sushasana, unless of course the parents were really prophetic. Just bad news, maybe they saw it at birth, we don't know. So, Duryodhana's brother Dushasana had dragged her by the hair, and and Duryodhana had touched his lap and in sign language and said, "Come and sit here." So she had not forgotten those insults. So she said, "I'm not going to comb my hair unless I have the oil infused with their blood." Literally. That's how I'm going to dress my hair, and until then I'm not going to comb my hair. So she just grew dreadlocks for 12 years in the forest. So these are the people, they didn't want this knowledge. They were kshatriyas, they were fighters, warriors, they were doing what they were wanting to do. So, suddenly for him to want this knowledge is suspicious at best. Not just this knowledge he can want, but suddenly for him to want this lifestyle which is leaving everything and going into the forest is suspicious, because he was already in the forest. And he came across so many Mahapurushas, so many Mahatmas. He could have said, and if he had told Krishna, I don't want to fight, I just want this knowledge, nobody would have said, come back and fight. So this is what was suspicious. So the whole of chapter 5 goes by because he's, constantly asking this question, why can't I become a renunciate from this war? Not in my lifestyle, but from this war right now. And in order to let go of this war, if the only way to overcome this is to become a renunciant, let me do that. So then the 5th chapter goes by, 6th chapter goes by, 7th chapter goes by, 8th chapter, 9th chapter, 10th chapter, 11th chapter goes by, 12th chapter, same question comes back again, same question. Now, in addition to a frock, it's wearing overalls. That's all it is. It's getting a little more dressed up. That's what it is. Tesham ke yogavittamaha. People relate to you in different ways. Oh Arjuna, oh Krishna, Arjuna says. Evam satata yukta ye bhaktas tvam parupasati. So many bhaktas are there. Which bhaktas are better? Which bhaktas are better? See, the comparison is already there. Those who see you as formless, or those who worship forms? Who is better? Krishna is not going to fall into that trap. So as a result, the 12th chapter is extremely confusing if you don't read it from the with the eyes of the Pramana and Vedanta. Really, you can go away thinking wrong things. And the question, even after so many chapters of teaching, has not gone, because it's back in the 12th chapter again. Even in the 18th chapter, it is back. Tell me about Tyaga, how to leave things. What do you want to leave? This war, of course. So from that we can take heart. If we are all having the same question, it's a good sign. We are following in the footsteps of Arjuna, which is nice. So that same question means the same samshaya. And that same samshaya, if it is there, year after year after year, it indicates that there is a pattern out of which the same kinds of questions are arising. There is something, we have to see the wellspring, that which is feeding this question has to be looked at. So this is Mananam, asking questions, part A of Mananam. Part B of Mananam is to allow oneself to ask the questions in the light of whatever one has studied, and the answer does come. And so, meditating upon the Upanishads, how come it's like this here and like that there, and sort of, using the brains, but in keeping, anukula, in keeping with the Shruti. Yukti, logic, is used. Shruti, anukula yukti. Yukti means logic. Shruti means the teachings. Shruti, anukula yukti, a logic that proceeds in accordance with what I have studied. Not a logic that defies what I have studied, because there is a problem there if it does that. Then you are better off asking questions. So this is called Mananam. Atma vai are mantavyaha. Mananam, 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 mentation, mentation, mentation. And then what? Still the promise of the Upanishads seems to be a promise out there somewhere, hanging in the ether. Self-knowledge and the fruits of self-knowledge, at least in this lifetime, may not be for me. This is the wise person talking. Wisened up to the fact. This is a wise person, because even underneath that, the current of lament is a truth. There is a truth. What is the truth? I'm not enjoying what the Upanishad says I should be enjoying by now. Last I checked, it has been more than 9 classes that I have attended. So there should be something. Kuch na kuch, it should be there, and I'm not enjoying that. And what is wrong with me? What is wrong with this? Something is wrong. So underneath the lament is a wise, observation. If one is able to make it, something is not right. Atma va are, Atma vai are, nididhyasitavyaha. Nididhyasanam, long word for contemplation. So technically the samshaya, the samshaya means what? Doubts. The doubts are twofold in nature, they say. Pramanagata samshaya and prameyagata samshaya. Pramanagata samshaya means doubts with regard to the means of knowledge. How can this free me? Why not some other way? Why not I touch the nose and become enlightened? To the fact that I have a nose. No. Why can't I touch the nose and know I am Satchidananda? Why can't I touch the toes, either mine or the Guru's, and know and know that I am Satchidananda, that I am free of all afflictions and all kinds of things. These are examples of Pramanagata Samshaya. Why I have to have a teacher? Why I have to study this? Why a committed exposure? Why this? Why? This is questioning the Pramana. How come it works? Why does it work? How come it's not worked for me? And that means it is not there. This is Pramanagata Samshaya. What if the teacher is, mistaken? What if the teacher is not teaching me properly? What if the teacher's personal life is horrible and then they are trying to teach this? How will I learn? This is all Pramanagata Samshaya. And the second kind of doubt is what is called Prameyagata Samshaya, which Mananam should address. Prameya means, that which the Pramana reveals is Prameya. So what is Prameya? What does the Pramana reveal? Self as what? Ishvara. So Prameya, that which is to be known is Ishvara. So Prameyagata Samshaya, Ishvara, Shmishvara, Vedanta, Shmedanta. Where is this Ishvara? So many people go without knowing this Ishvara. What? So what? If I also don't know, so what? Why? And then on top of that, I am this Ishvara. Why should I know this Ishvara? I know myself enough. Today Ishvara is mad. Today Ishvara is sad. Enough. And so this is what is called Prameyagata Samshaya. And this is what Mananam, the second line of remedy, when Shravanam doesn't work, when Shravanam is not sufficient should take care of these two kinds of samshayas. If that doesn't happen, then the place where those samshayas are arising from have to be looked at, and that looking deeply into the source of those patterns which are churning out these kinds of feelings. I am not worthy of this knowledge. What Ishvara? How can I be this Ishvara? And what is this, who is this teacher? Why this way? Why all this? That has to be deeply looked at, loved up and integrated. And that is the real meaning of Nididhyasanam, aka Viparīta Bhāvanā Nivṛtti. Viparīta means opposite. Bhāvanā, feelings, experiences. Experiences, feelings, thought, patterns that are opposite to what? Opposite to the teachings. Completely opposed to the teachings, my feelings are. The teaching is saying you are the whole, there is nothing more you need and you are fine and everything is fine. But I feel unfine or unrefined and I feel like an idiot and I feel like, I don't deserve this knowledge. No wonder the knowledge is not talking to me because, it's just all nice in the books and nice to listen to once in a while, but that's the extent of my engagement with this knowledge. Somehow, to put it in English, one finds that one has plateaued. Plateaued means flat line, plateau. In the beginning, the Vedanta classes are, woohoo, yay, yippee, I'm Brahman. And while saying that, one gets a catch on the side. I'm Brahman. So, in the beginning, there's a lot of, activity. And then after that, there seems to be a flat line. Plateau hold. Nothing is exciting. Life is boring. Boredom is really not an emotion, It is a indicator of certain emotions being buried, which should not be, which should be looked at. So, but what one has access to is only this long, endless boredom, which one confuses for a feeling. And this boredom means like there is a certain kind of an apathy. Apathy towards life, apathy towards, of course, the Shastra, apathy towards the family, apathy towards the work, Nothing is exciting, nothing is interesting. And then there is a notice that comes in the email, some Vedanta classes will be there. Because one has already decided, what can that do for me? Nothing. Why should I go? Why should I make the effort to go? Because what's the point? What is the point? Nothing will happen because I've already studied, been there, done that. And then I've studied also the 6th chapter of the Gita, which suggests that I have been there and done that in other ways, in other lives. Oh my God, how depressing. If I haven't got it in the last 3 lives, what's the guarantee I'll get it now? So forget it. Why even attempt? Teacher you see coming, you duck under a bush. Hold the breath for good measure. You love the teacher, of course. But there is such a deep sense of disappointment, mixed in with a salad dressing of shame that you just cannot face it. Can't face yourself. And facing the teacher is facing yourself. Really, the teacher is a walking, talking mirror. So on a bad hair day, you don't want to look in the mirror. Nobody does. You know. And then, you know, when one is uncombed, unraveled, nididhyasana wise speaking, because of the source of these doubts are not addressed, then one cannot encounter the teacher or the Shastra. Both the Shastra is a mirror, the teacher is a mirror, both are mirrors. What do we do now? You know, this is a very big impasse. And this is not something that is, you know, touched upon deeply in the Upanishad. Because the Upanishad gives a lot of leeway to address this issue for ourselves. And the Upanishad is a lady of few words which have to be understood. She just gives a sign and we have to understand that and unpack that. And in India, ancient India, when we read the bhashyas, the Vartikas, various kinds of commentaries to the Bhagavad Gita, etc., you know, they talk about ragadveshas, they talk about it only to a certain extent. Mandukya Karika addresses it a little bit. Addresses things that come in the way of listening, things that come in the way of meditation. But again, it's in the matter of 4 lines in a verse. That's why we are very, very, very fortunate that, you know, Pujya Swamiji's teachings went deeply into the emotional realm from the standpoint of modern psychology, so that we can use the Upanishad, the wisdom of the Upanishad, in the light of this modern psychology and understand it fully as it relates to one's life, so that one can make progress, where one can come out of this impasse. Very, very fortunate. I can't tell you what a big blessing it is. And he himself understood this blessing. Because in teaching, one time, you know, he was giving a talk on the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita and what he liked to call Ragadvesha psychology. And he said, I haven't done too badly, have I? I have done good, he said. And he said, if Adi Shankara were to manifest right now, right here, I think he would pat me on the back and say, good boy. It was so beautiful. It was said without a whit of pride. It was just a fact. It is really a fact. That he has furthered this sampradaya, the parampara. That's why the parampara is so important. The parampara has thrived under him, and under his able hands and way of teaching this, the parampara has not just thrived, has added a new way of looking at things. And it has just blossomed, really, and changed the trajectory of this teaching, really. Because I have gone to, so many places. He would send us. When I was in Rishikesh, he would say, don't just sit in my class. Let me tell you a few other teachers that you can just go and sit. He would make us go. Go to Kailas Ashram today. Go sit there and we could barely sit there. And we would come running back. I mean, not that they were teaching badly, they were teaching the same things, but that there was something there which Pujya Swamiji made it alive and relevant. That's the whole point. That relevance to one's life was not there. It was the stock teaching. Completely in keeping with the Shastra, authentic, stock and ancient teaching, but there was not that adaptability to one's situation. So what is it that does not allow the meditation to take place, and the meditation or the questioning to go deeply and to address the pramana-gata samshaya and the prameya-gata samshayas, these doubts centered on either the pramana or the means of knowledge or Ishvara, what is to be understood as the truth of oneself. That is what has to be examined. And that is a deeper, what is that called? A deeper inquiry. And literally it's a self-inquiry because it's an inquiry into that which I have assumed to be the self. It's not going to finish by 10, is it? So, what shall we do? Shall we take a little break and come back? That will be nice, yeah? It's gotten a little heavy there, so jump up and down and do what you need to. We'll come back. And is it okay to sit for another hour after we come back? Okay, all right.
And maybe in the evening we can even continue.
We can continue in the evening if it still doesn't finish. Now, what time is it? Announce?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock?
In the evening.
Yeah, but where is, they know? They all know?
They all have emails.
Okay. Yeah.
We should probably announce again. Just
Announce again.
We can write
Yeah,
down.
announce before the break, and then I will chant the closing prayer, and then we'll come back and just take 10 minutes.
Swamini, we'll
Have a
write
cup of tea or something.
We'll write the address on the board.
Yeah, write the address on the board, and if you're bored, just come. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Go have a little fun and come back. Nice to see all of you online. Something you brought.
Okay, yeah.
Fantastic. Beautiful. Come upstairs. Now, please go. Here, hold this. Thank you. Look at this. Oh, this is amazing. Look at that. Water?
Oh, there's one right here.
Yeah, there is here.
It's a short stem.
Oh, okay.
Here, put both. Another shorty. Yeah, just 5-10 minutes. I'll come back. Yeah, that's right, Bhāvanā. Antakarana Shuddhi is needed. I got your email from yesterday. You can pray at home, no problem. Yeah. You just sit and pray at home, it's one and the same. Okay. I don't know what flower it is. I think it's called snowball because it looks like a ball of snow. Yeah, it is very nice. Be right back.
Yeah, but it's different than that because when you let your chairs and like that, it's an additional, what it does is it gets.
Did you find one? Excellent.
The Bhāvanā starts at what time? Right when this class ends?
10:30, yeah, I think it does. But that's okay. They've been told. I hope they go ahead. They're going to start, and we'll get there. Yeah.
Swamini said make her a little tea. What does she use?
Coming out here. It'll come back. I'm going to take it off a minute. Huh? No, it's feedback. I'll make it go away. Namaste, James. Oh, you can't hear me. Namaste, James. I'm going to put the microphone on mute again just for a little bit so you aren't hearing all the clunks and bangs.
I know, when I was at university, class, and I don't know, but all the school I was taking, I'm sure they still don't care. There wasn't much on campus then. It was, I think, all of them. Yeah, in fact, my grandmother, because she was younger, so her mother came down, their mother came with them, so still just worried, they moved there, so they go to school. And she's still in high school, so she went to the Eugene High School, was actually on where the tennis courts used to be there by the music school. I think it's parking lot now. But that's where the Eugene High School was, so she finished high school.
What's that?
Yeah, the empty chair.
Oh, not no.
Any questions? We'll have to wait. It's interesting to have.
They always do.
Sometimes they don't wait, sometimes they ferment. Sometimes they fall. We've been an active process. You can put on the roses. They can wear the roses.
It's fixable.
It seems like there must have been several.
Everything that I'm going through right now. But it's
I looked into these. It
think my, yeah, you know, puppy, it's money needs help. I just don't have it. I'm having what is it? Literally what happens right now. So,
Because we tend to get it very identified with something.
we'll see, yeah, so I was just sitting with it for a while. And then I also have a doctor's appointment the week before and after in Portland. So it's long, you know, because I got it all coming up and down. Yeah, so I reached out to Portland and so I just said to it, like I want to go, and of course, my initial instinct was do it, and then I sent something to Sita, and she immediately sent back all the down. So why is maybe not a good idea? But that's our role. I always am like, yay! And she's always like, ah! That's just like the rest of how it goes. So we'll see. That's good to see. Thank you. Yeah, and I think I'm not gonna understand it.
Yeah. Somebody was stuck. It's like, 10% of my depression is because a lot of it just needs in a place where this was the bad part. You got me in a place where I just sat and was depressed. You made me think about
The first thing you ask is,
so bummed that you think what you think of this Why did you follow your friend? Why did you run? That's great. There's progress. Another level. Oh, you can't possibly.
no matter what,
And then you paid for the days.
And I have
It's a good idea.
It's very nice because I personally want to see houses rather than this
How are you doing? She's still in bed when we left, so
I was raised
This is muted, so I can hear. Don't think it.
So the evening thing is over there, right?
Yes, Swamiji. I don't know what.
You have to put the pin code so that they will come in immediately. People have asked me like that. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. One more Shanti mantra. Very nice to hear. Goes like this. Samaveda mantra. Apyayantu mamangani. Apyayantu mamangani. Vapranaha. Vapranaha. Chakshushrotram. Chakshushrotram. Balam. It's hard to remember when it's, split up like that. Wonderful. Vak pranashchakshusrotramatho balamindriyani cha sarvani. Vak pranashchakshusrotramatho balamindriyani cha sarvani. Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranamastu Anirakaranam me astu. Tadatmani nirate. Ya upanishatsu. Dharmaha. Te mayi santu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The mere utterance of this mantra is sufficient to sufficiently avert this impasse that we talked about, that allows one to go deeper. I'll explain the meaning later, and we can chant it again as well. So the impasse is merely this. Even though one makes a big deal out of the feelings and the emotions, it's what they are, fleeting. You may say it is fleeting, but it has been there for 3 lifetimes. How is it fleeting? Okay, it's not fleeting, it's fleeting. It's a feeling. A feeling is that, it's not the reality. The reality is, the reality check is already there. The reality check is in the shlokas of the Upanishads that has been studied for the 9 classes plus. Yeah, we'll say 9 plus. 9 classes, 9 years, doesn't matter. The reality is already there. It's being iterated again in every class. And the fact that the ears are not ready to hear, Shravanam has shut off, Mananam has shut off, shows that there is the very infrastructure that is wanting to be gotten rid of is coming in the way. That's what it is. That's why it is plateaued, flat-lined, lifeless, flat-lined. You see in the monitor, there is no brain wave, flat line. That's what it is. That apathy, etc., is part of the pattern, and not knowing that, the person enshrines that to be the truth and says whatever the Upanishad says cannot be right because this is my direct experience. You see how experience can mislead? This is what it is. So the reality check has always to be in the light of the Upanishads. So nididhyasanam, or in other words, Viparīta, opposite, Bhāvanā, feelings, Nivṛtti, removal, has to be made constantly, especially in the modern times. I keep saying modern times because the ancient times there was a different dinacharya. Dinacharya means daily schedule. You went from homa to, we are having one homa today. They went from home to another homa, back to home, homa in the home, homa out of the home. So they were never homa'd out. Yeah. I went to Georgia once, and there is one small place where some lectures I give once in a while. And there was one lady who was very eager all the time to come to the classes. She had come 2-3 times during my visit, and when I went to the next time, she wasn't there. So I said, "Oh, where is Ratna? What happened to her? Where is this lady?" She was so happy with the classes and everything. So the host said, with all due respect, she said she's swamied out, because you are the 3rd Swami that has come into town in the last month. She is swamied out, and that is the time for nididhyasana, really. Really. Swamied out, homa'd out, Vedanta'd out. And so in the ancient times, they were never swamied out. They were never Vedanta'd out. Because they had a very a Vaidika life, which is a strict schedule, which would not allow whether I feel like a homa or not to get in the way. It is what is to be done, and what is to be done is to be prioritized, because it is yoga, it is karma yoga, it's a way of worship. The work itself is transformed into worship. So I'm worshipping the whole day. And for the one who is worshipful the whole day, there is no chance of these kinds of recalcitrant emotions taking over. There is no place, there is no time. That's why they did not need a big raga-dvesha psychology. That's why, we waited for Pujya Swamiji to come and transform this, because we need it now. Because now it's like anything goes. When do you wake up? When I feel like. What if you don't feel like? I don't wake up. Simple. And we do this to the children. What do you feel like? And even if you don't do this to the children will definitely tell you what they feel like and what they don't feel like. And these feelings, which are so fleeting, are enshrined. This is the thing, because when there is only mithya means a dependent reality, because the feelings are, arising from and resolving into the ocean of Satchidananda. They are mere little waves that just lap the shores of insecurity. That's all it is. But we take them to be, when there is no Satyam or not sufficient resonance with that Satyam, when we refuse to believe that Satyam is I, Mithya becomes Satyam. This is what happens. I was told a story in the childhood. It's a common Indian story. That there was a township, a kingdom, where they did not like the king, the people, the praja, and they just said, they did not want anybody to be the king. They were so sick of the king who was corrupt and who was terrible. So they said, it's better to have a dog as our king. So they found one dog and put a crown on it, roadside dog, Moti. Every dog in India is called Moti. Moti means pearl. And so they found one dog-eared dog, and put a crown and a cape on that dog and made it sit on the throne and told it, sit, it's that. And they did arati to it, and they said from now, when they put the crown, did pattabhisheka, and they said, from now on you are the king. And it loved all the attention. It wagged its tail a little bit, sat down, even more nicely, because it was nice cushioned throne. And it just sat there, enjoying itself. And then, of course, very soon the fanfare and all subsided, They gave it things to eat, they gave it naivedya to eat, and they did arati to it, and did a little ceremony to establish it was the king. Then very soon it saw another dog, its friend, going on the road. What did it do? It immediately got down, threw off the cape, the crown rolled off its head, and then it joined the dog, and both of them rolled in the dirt. And this is what happens when the feelings are enthroned and enshrined, and when the ahankara, which should be listening to what? Listening to the Guru, instead is listening to the feelings, and is put the feelings like this dog with the restless nature, rajasic, tamasic dog. The dog represents rajas and tamas. When those feelings arising from the gunas of rajas and tamas are enshrined and put on the pedestal and allowed to run the ahankara identifies with it and rolls in the dirt with it, because that's where the feelings will take one and leave one feeling dirty. That's really where it will go. It's not good news. And this is what is the bane of the West, really. And we can't really make a difference between West and India now, because India is also going the same with the globalized times. This is what it is. Busy, busy, busy. What? Doing what? Nothing. Spinning. And then me, mine. My feelings, you can't have them. And one finds a certain comfort in misery. Misery loves company. And then you have a support group of everyone feeling bad, and then that gets the feelings enshrined even more. And the problem is this, that when this is done for ages, and when this has certain cultural backing, of enthroning and enshrining the patterns to the level of reality and letting them run our lives, then we have a kind of a, what should I say, a sanction from the society to do that, and that underscores the fact that this is real. There is a societal sanction. Of course, you should feel outraged and you should sit and stew in the outrage for centuries. You are entitled. This is the problem, this entitlement. Entitlement to what? At least have swarajyam. At least have, some kind, be entitled to the mastery, be entitled to the gifts of the Upanishads. That's where your entitlement lies. But where is it exercised? It's exercised in feeling miserable and being entitled to misery and outrage. Very sad. Extremely sad state of affairs. So this is on the collective level. The patterns get a sanction to run their script. Sometimes the computers, when they're out of order, they keep running a script. That's how it is. Sometimes I get a notice on my computer, there is a defective script running. Should it stop or should it continue? I say quickly stop it. Who is going to stop the defective script running here when it has got societal and sanction? Everybody says, yes, this is the way to go. Yes, you should feel outraged. Yes, you should feel upset. Yes, you should do this. Yes, you should do that. And that is why we need nididhyasanam. And that is why this has to be interrupted. And Vedanta is a very powerful interruption for this, because this is on the level of the societal patterns that one has internalized. Everybody is feeling outraged, therefore I have a right to be outraged. But I am not outraged. No, that doesn't matter. Let me just be mad. This is what we do. This is, an instance of all the tarnished copper pots sitting in the room and deriving a kind of a morbid strength from one another to feel miserable. So that is one part, a large part of why the patterns stay intact. Because there is not any kind of a social impetus to be able to, unravel them and be courageous enough to look at them. Nobody wants to look at them. And we are communal beings. The human being is a communal being because one grows, one sees the mirroring in others and one grows as a result of that. And when other people are not growing, they're only groaning, they're not growing, then there is no impetus. When we go back to Kathopanishad recognizes this very beautifully. Paranchikhani vyatranat swayambhuhu parak pashyati na antaratman. The Upanishad laments, Paranchikhani, everybody is so outwardly focused. All the organs of action and the sense organs are focused outside. Nobody is ready to look within. Parak pashyati, they just look outside. Quick thrills, quick distractions. Nobody wants to see anything that is lasting. And that which is lasting is within, not without, so to speak, but the eyes don't turn around. The eyes are always focused outside, 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 outside. Keep criticizing, keep, engaging, keep criticizing, yet engaging. And then, parak pashyati, na antaratman, antaratmanam, it should be, antaratmanam na pashyati. Chandasam, it is poetic license for the Vedas. Doesn't look at, antar means inside. Doesn't look at the Atma within. So how to get rid of this impasse? How to come out of this? Who should I rely on, and when will all the people inspire me? That will not happen. says the Upanishad. Kaschit dhiraha. One dhira. Dhira means the person who has not bought into these societal patterns of swimming downstream because it is convenient and doing all these things because everybody else is doing it. Kaschit dhiraha. Avritta chakshuhu, whose eyes have undergone a revolution in vision. Avritta means revolution. One courageous and one discriminating individual who has undergone a revolution in their vision. Avritta chakshuhu amritatvam icchan, desiring that immortal one, to know the immortal one as oneself, embarks on this journey. It's the same journey that has been undertaken from ages, not specific to, we think, okay, this is just Upanishad and all. No, but it's a universal thing. Wherever you go in any society, you see, change happens at the level of the individual. It's mediocre to think that somebody else, everybody will inspire me and then I will change. That's that's mass think. Everybody thinks that. One person is ready, one person has the courage and the discrimination to revolve the vision. Revolve the vision means what? Change the vision to match that vision of the Upanishads. That is what the courage and the discrimination lies. And set off on this lonesome journey. And other people say, oh, this person is so foolish. And even in the tarot cards, the first card is the Fool. And if you look at it, it's very pictorial. Here is this fellow, like a sannyasi, he's got a stick on his, some kind of an androgynous being, got a stick on the shoulder, a little bundle of whatever possessions, and he is walking off a cliff. Very brave. But at the same time, everybody thinks, so foolish. Leaving the village or the hamlet or the settlement, in some cards, you see some fire burning somewhere in the back. What is more important is that there are these dogs tugging at the dress of this being, calling the person back. You want to go forward, but these dogs stand for domesticated patterns. They need not stand for individuals. These are the own patterns they are dogged. That's what they are. That's why they are dogs. These dogged patterns that are holding you back from within, from without. And they could also stand for specific people in the society, in the family, in this thing. They are holding the person back, considering the person to be foolish. But there is a certain impetus to change one's life, and as soon as one begins the change, until the change is actually earnestly begun, nobody is threatened. It's okay. Yeah, a little Vedanta, you go and study good, Fine, go. Oh, this is getting serious. No. Come back. It's not easy as baking 2 cakes to have one and eat it too. This is a slightly different. This kind of a cooking is different because it's a complete transformation. And after the transformation, there is no going back to that old you. Because that old you is not really you, it never was, and you know that more than anybody else. The patterns have to do with, and if you look at the patterns, we don't have to look at individual patterns, because we don't know sometimes even what they are. But we get a lot of wisdom from looking at the universal and collective patterns. And the patterns, most of the time, have to do with keeping things in place and not upsetting the boat. even though it has sprung 5-6 leaks. Not upsetting the boat. So one becomes an enabler in this pattern, even though one is not maybe actively participating, one is allowing this participation to take place. You know the word enabler in modern psychology, right? Codependent and enabler. So either one is codependent or one is an enabler. This is what it is. So one enables by succumbing to those patterns and those of others, by allowing them to be and making that an excuse to not look at oneself. This is where the attention should go. And journaling is a very important way of being in touch with those patterns that are difficult to look at. Let them write. Let them write themselves out. Let them show you what they are. And if you're scared, allow the fear to come. Have a cup of chai with the fear. Because really speaking, one is afraid of fear. One is not afraid of what that thing is. So after that it will go away. It will. If you're able to face it, it goes away. And there's really nothing to get rid of, Just the macrocosm has got snakes, scorpions, dangerous things. We don't go killing and bashing every snake on the head, poor thing, or every alligator. No. We allow them to be in their spaces while not being afflicted by them, while not giving them the power to afflict us. Same thing we do to the alligators and the seaweed and the snakes and the scorpions within. These 6 emotions which are talked about, what are they? Kama, unbridled, unmanaged, binding desires. Then Krodha, anger. And how does anger come? When the desire is thwarted, anger comes. Lobha, avarice. Moha, delusion. Madha, pride. Matsarya, jealousy. Yeah, that comes at the last because it's the hardest to get rid of. Even Bhagavan Krishna describing the jnani says Dvandvatito vimatsarah. Dvandvatita means the one who is without a second. And then he qualifies that vimatsarah, without jealousy. There was no need. Once you say there is no second, then what are you jealous of? But that jealousy is very difficult to overcome. And it comes again, the jealousy comes from feeling that I don't have enough. That's why I look at the other person's plate and immediately resent them for that. And when the pattern is too deep, one starts to plot their downfall. So, these patterns are deep-seated because they have run their script again and again, because we have let them, because we don't know any better. We haven't known any better for so many lifetimes. And therefore, the script continues to run with, unbridled, without any interference either from outside or within. But what we learn from the Kathopanishad and other Upanishads is that not only that it can be interrupted, it must be interrupted, and for that one person has to be daring enough. Oh, but I'm not that person. You don't have to be that person. Pujya Swamiji was already daring enough. You follow that. Oh, nice, very safe. You don't have to reinvent the, what is that? Something, wheel. Yeah. It's already been invented. Roll along. Yes. From here, when you drive to Portland, there is one grass company, and it advertises itself. We are just rolling along. Keep rolling along, you know. There is a lot of impetus already if we look. When we look with slightly different eyes, we see that people are already making a change. There are few and far between, no doubt, but still there is that inspiration. So the patterns have to do with not upsetting the state of affairs based on fear. The patterns have to do again with not giving up what I think I have in terms of love and connection and recognition. So one becomes very, very addicted to those things. Fame, name, love, acceptance, approval, recognition. You can go on and on those lines. And even if it's the most dysfunctional aspect of society or dysfunctional aspect of a relationship that's giving me this, I'm not going to question this because at least I'm getting this much. This is what is the whole problem, because one gets addicted to the dysfunction because one doesn't know any better. One has to pry oneself by having the reality check of the Shastras, and we'll talk about it in much more practical terms briefly after this. So one has to be daring enough to take the leap into self-acceptance from seeking approval. One has to be daring enough to take the leap from, self-judgment to self-approval. Because that self-judgment and insecurity ends up placing a very big premium on other people's approval. And other people's approval is not easy to get. Don't think everybody is saying, oh, tathastu, well, wonderful, Aishaman Bhava. Nobody is saying that. You have to work very, 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 very hard for even one person's approval. Yes. Whether it's the brother or the significant other or whoever it is. You have to work very, very hard. And work hard means what? Do things that are not in your highest, best interest. That's what I mean by working hard. Working hard doesn't mean playing a few tricks, sit, roll over and turn around and wag your tail. No, it's not just that. Do things that are contrary to your nature as described in the Upanishads, and forget the Upanishads, as you yourself deeply know who you are. That Satchidananda is, you are aware of that. That's why the Upanishad resonates, because there is a certain familiarity that is where there is a meeting point of the words of the Upanishad in the space of the heart, because the heart is already open to it. And why is the heart open to it? Because it recognizes it as the truth. That's why the heart is open to it. Otherwise, who will sit and listen? You are the whole. You don't need anybody. Nobody will sit and listen to it unless you know that to be true. And in the suptavastha, in sleep, you know that to be true. Who seeks approval in sleep? No one. Who is dogged by self-judgment in sleep? No one. Until I sleep, yes, but that's not what we are talking about. In sleep, who is dogged by self-judgment? No one. Either in Vedanta class or outside. No self-judgment in sleep. In sleep, who is worried about, what anybody thinks? No one. So that itself is a very big, and 8 hours hopefully are spent in sleep. And in that time, not counting Vedanta classes, in that times, those are just naps. So, in that portion of time, when one is asleep, one sees something very, very, very important. One sees that there is a very big discrepancy in my waking life and in my sleep life. In sleep there is nothing but shanti and tripti, contentment. There is peace and contentment. That's why everybody loves to go to sleep and nobody wants to wake up, because that's the only way I feel that shanti and contentment will continue. That relaxation, one doesn't know relaxation other than sleep. That's why one sleeps in Vedanta class, because it's so relaxing. Very relaxing. And so this is what the whole thing is. That itself, there should be that vyabhichara. There is a contradiction between how I behave in my waking state and how, what happens in the sleep state. That itself should be cause for concern, because in sleep I'm not going around enabling others. In sleep I'm not a codependent. In sleep I'm not trying to assuage other people's patterns so that they pay attention to me. In sleep I'm not begging for scraps of approval. In sleep I'm not criticizing myself or others. In sleep I'm just so content, so peaceful. Is that my nature? Or is this querulous, complaining, fearful, tearful being fighting with the universe constantly in order to get something out of it every single day? Is that my real nature? Naturally, that one rejects that. You ask anybody, anywhere, in any language, do you want to be a complaining being? And they will complain about it. What is wrong with your life? I'm too complaining. That's the complaint. I don't have, freedom from complaints. And I don't want to complain. I just want to be plain. I don't want to have all these things. You ask somebody, are you happy with being a self-judging individual? Absolutely not. Do you like seeking approval from your boss and, either at home or at work? And, do you like seeking approval constantly from friends and from people that co-workers and acquaintances? No, it is so sickening. Do you love judging yourself constantly in the light of other people's opinions about you? Of course not. You ask in any language. So if that were my real state, if that was my nature, swabhavasya na nivṛttihi, there is no going away from nature. Means what? That which doesn't change. So that cannot be my nature, because it is constantly I'm rejecting it. But I'm embracing the contentment and the absence of criticism of others and myself in sleep. That should show me, that should, forget Vedanta and what you have studied. That inner wisdom from the daily experience of sleep should be, a wake-up call. Sleep should be a wake-up call. Why? Because in sleep, you see that there is just nothing but oneness. And that same oneness I crave in the waking state, and it is so elusive. The only way to get it is to promptly go to sleep. How to get that oneness without going to sleep? Guru Sharanam, that's all. Sharanam means refuge in the pramana, refuge in the teachings. But I've already studied. Yes, refuge in the words of the teacher and the teachings. You have said this example before. When the cow is let out for the grass time, pasture time, it doesn't know how long it has. It has no sense of time. It knows it's hungry, and it knows any time this farmer can put it back in the shed. So what does it do? It immediately goes, nibbles, grazes, and then the farmer hasn't come back. Oh, I seem to have a lot of time. See, it's because it hasn't digested anything, it hasn't assimilated anything. It's just, made the stomach a storehouse of the grass, undigested green grass. Then it ruminates. We call it, chews the cud. So the grass that was eaten without chewing. Basically, first it mowed the lawn. That's all it did. It mowed the pasture. And then it sits under a tree and recalls that, regurgitates that, and then chews it. And then sends it to another stomach, a deeper stomach, from where it doesn't come out. That's important. And that's what a happy-go-lucky student of Vedanta in the beginning does. Oh, there's a class there, let me go. Another class, wonderful. Oh, a retreat, let me not just go, let me organize it. Fierce, wonderful, great, let me do that. And then what? Oh, now what? Nothing seems to have changed. Why did not anything change? Because the same orientation which I was having towards my waking state and the world, that something from outside will come and pluck me out of this and take me. What is that? Savior mentality, which has been the cause of many mainstream, the birth of many mainstream traditions in the world. Come to me, I will save you. Between save and slave, there is only one letter missing. Yes, this is unfortunately true. What can save? Nothing can save. Other than the philosophy of the Upanishads, which says you don't need to be saved. Why? Because you are already saved. Look at the sleep state. Your true nature is that of an uncomplaining, contented being. An appreciative, non-demanding, contented being. Forget Satchidananda and highfalutin words. Just write these down. Appreciating, contented, non-complaining being. That is your nature. Anything other than this is not you. Simple. Really. That's all we have to understand. That's all we have to see. That's all we have to live. So like the cow who was hungry for the grass and then after that sat down to enjoy the wheat grass juice later, The mastication goes this way for the cow. Not like this. It goes this way because it has a juicer. The jaws are a built-in juicer. Like this it goes, not like our movement. It goes sideways because it's a built-in juicer. It doesn't have to pay $100 to buy a juicer and then put the kale in. Kale along with a kela. Kela means banana. Somebody offered to make me this smoothie. And they said, I'll put kale. And I didn't say yes or no. I just said, didn't show enthusiasm. But this is a macrobiotic being, doesn't need any enthusiasm to go forward. Wanted to keep the teacher healthy and raw food and all that. And so then said, I will also put spinach. And I will also put some mustard greens and do this. And I think she saw my face. Then I'll put one banana. Half a banana, not one. Half a banana to sweeten it. It's like, what is that, putting one grain of sugar in something. So kale or kela, kela means banana. So whether it's kale or kela, the cow, makes its own juice. And what does it juice? It doesn't need new grass. That same grass it brings out and juices and enjoys the juice a second time by itself, in silence, in solitude, happily. This is what is called nididhyasanam, contemplation, bringing forth the words of the Upanishad, which have been studied, which have been enjoyed, which have been understood. And then now what? Now what do? I enjoy them again and assimilate them. This is nididhyasanam. But I don't know Sanskrit, I don't know the words of the Upanishad. See, look at the excuses. These are patterns. Oh, Sanskrit, if I just look, who remembers what the teacher taught and but there are talks, you can listen to the CD, CD, Shmidi, who wants to, CD should be spelled SEEDY, CD, and who wants to listen to a CD? I don't have the time to even put it in, I don't have the motivation, I don't have the inspiration, I don't want to have anything to do with the teacher or with the teachings. This is the feeling. That's the pattern. That's why I told you, forget Sanskrit, forget Tattvamasi, forget Aham Brahmasmi, forget all the Mahavakyas. Just go back to the basic, what you find in sleep, a non-demanding, what else? Appreciative, contented, non-complaining being. If there is any discrepancy between that and your behavior, it is cause to go back to that. Go back to that. No, but I can't not complain. Okay, but you can not talk, right? Yeah. No, but I have to complain. Yeah. Go to some far away place, lots of wild parks and places are there. Oh, complain there to the trees, they are very patient, they listen. Redwoods love complaints, they will listen, they will absorb it also. Write it out, journal it, tear it up. Release. Release it somewhere where you can do it safely without targeting yourself or others. That is the release. Release it. That is how one deals with the complaints. Appreciative. I don't feel appreciative at all. I feel depreciative. I don't feel like appreciating others or even myself. This is where Pujya Swamiji's, famous advice. What is that? Fake it and make it. You're not really faking it. Because that is the truth. You're faking it to think that you're faking it. In fact, what you're doing right now is faking it, but not making it. Whole life is a fake when one is constantly querulous, constantly discontented, because it takes a burden. It takes a burden physically because the body cannot handle that. Body cannot handle that. It will start rebelling. The stomach usually starts to talk. It says, I can't stomach this state of affairs. And even Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, they all say all the diseases begin in the gut. Because I don't have the guts to change. So, do oneself a favor. We do ourselves a favor. We help ourselves. Forget Sanskrit, forget Mahavakya, forget big, unmemorizable verses of Viveka Chudamani and this and that and all these things. Forget all that. Forget, teacher, forget Parampara, forget Pujya Swamiji, forget everything. Go back to the basics. Ask yourself every morning, am I being true to my nature, which is that of an appreciative, what? Non-demanding, Contented being. Appreciative also means non-complaining. Yeah. Just that, those are the words. That is our Mahavakya for today. That is the Mahavakya of the day. If you are an appreciative, non-demanding, non-complaining, contented being, that is the translation of the word Satchidananda. That's what it is. So manufacture a delight that you don't feel. That everything and everybody, starting with a significant other. No, because that's the hardest. It's the hardest to do because you're the person that you're living with, you have the most complaints about. All their omissions and commissions are of course glaring, and then your omissions and commissions you transfer onto them and they are doubly glaring. Double dose of OCs, making one OCD. This is what has to be done every single day. And then we have to practice looking at the world with the eyes of a unhurt small child, a child that has not had some traumatic experiences, a child that is simply there, and you see that they are willing to forgive, and you see that they are willing to just take things as they are. You see that they are appreciative, and if the basic needs are met, they are not demanding. That comes later. That's why it's called terrible threes or something like that. Terrible twos. But before that, And that is a spontaneous expression of that dynamic Satchidananda. There is a latent Satchidananda, as in sleep, as in the nature that is powering one's being, and then that Satchidananda, that dynamic form of Ananda, is love, really. And this love was not really talked about at all in Vedanta until Pujya Swamiji came, to the teaching arena and wrote a book, Discovering Love. He loves it. So he dropped a flower. That's why everybody is excited. So, read that book. It's really a timeless book, Discovering Love. Order it, read it, and read it with the family members. Read it together every night before going to bed. So that when you wake up, that Discovering Love is just resonating somewhere, even if you have fallen asleep, it will be there. Yeah. So that's what it is, the dynamic form of this non-demanding, appreciative, contented, non-complaining being, that is you, is the one that is just lovable because it is all love. That's what it is. But I don't feel loving today. It's okay. It's a thought. It's a feeling. It's not you. But I don't know how to become loving. You don't have to become loving. Everything that's unloving has to be falsified. For that again, kaschid dhiraha avritta chakru amritatvam icchan. Go back to what you want. Go back to why you attended your first Vedanta class. Go back to appreciative, non-demanding being. This is what it takes. Repeated doing this will help clear the way to reconnect to the teachings and the teacher, if the quest has not been complete. Because otherwise it's very hard to relate to the teacher, and it's very hard to trust the teachings, because the same distrust is coming in the way, and that was what the first talk was. Somehow it is all connected, isn't it, this time? Yeah. So it's very hard to connect to the teacher and the teachings when all of this is in the way. When I'm complaining, discontented, non-appreciative being, demanding being, how will the teaching come in? How will I look at the teacher without demanding? You know? How will the teachings go through the wall of discontent that I have painstakingly put up? And I'm not willing to take down because it has taken a lot of effort. And 3 lifetimes I have put up this wall. I'm not going to let the teacher destroy this wall because I have taken a lot of time. Ahankara does very sneaky things. It's like a trapeze artist. It swings from nerve to nerve. It's not that we are trying to do away with the ego. The ahankara is to be tamed, domesticated by shamadama, self-discipline, and by the allow, so that it sits in one place and allows to listen to the teaching. That is what is a comely ahankara. And it allows itself to be guided by the teachings rather than the feelings. That buddhi stands for teaching, so the ahankara, is guided by the buddhi rather than the chittam, not chit. Chittam means the emotional baggage which runs its script, its destructive script, again and again and again relentlessly. That's the thing. And a simple exercise, back to the practicalities of things, to ward off this script from ruining the day and taking over the day, is to wake up and before the thoughts flood the psyche. What is today? Oh, what do I have to do? Oh no. Before those kinds of thoughts flood the day, you tell yourself, first thing in the morning, what will you tell yourself? I am what? An appreciative, non-demanding, contented, non-complaining being. Starting with my own body, say that. And going all the way to the furthest galaxy. I'm an appreciating being, contented being, loving being, non-complaining being, non-demanding being. And then the body that can barely get out of bed does a miracle when you say this. A compromised arthritic body that can barely get out of bed, not that it will start to scale mountains. Pangum langhayate girim. Not that, we don't, but there is a meaning there. That means that the mind overrides this. The ahankara doesn't go with the complaining, Yes, there is pain. Yes, it is dragging itself around. But at least it is there to drag itself around. Imagine if you didn't have a body. Somewhere you'll be floating. Nobody will notice. Already nobody is noticing. Now nobody will even notice you're there. And then you just waft into a Vedanta class. And then you're trying to say, Guru, I want self-knowledge because I messed up last time. Preta Sharira, subtle body only is there, nobody can see, teacher also cannot see, and you don't have a mouth to ask for the knowledge, and you can't sit and listen because there are no ears, and somehow you have to, it's not fun. The body is a vehicle for moksha. That's why the prayer starts, Apyayantu mamangani. Avatu, may it protect this body, even this, mad body, dragging body, painful body, non-working body, but still it's there. It's a vehicle You know, some people have Mercedes and some people have, things that barely run. It gets you to the store, enough. Yeah. Gets you to the market of choice, enough. And back. The market of the choicest Upanishads. Enough. Gets you to class and back. Enough. Oh, but those people have Mercedes Benz. Let them have. What are they doing with it? They're keeping on polishing it every day. Where does it go? Where does it go? Your body is enough because it's just drip dry. Come out of the shower, stand in the sun. Enough. You don't need any other maintenance. It's like polyester clothing, drip dry. You don't have to iron it, you don't have to keep on wiping and waxing and polishing and, rubbing and scrubbing and, you can't go into this kind of car wash because it will hurt it, you can't do this, you have to do this. And then it costs so much money to upkeep, because it is all so, special. It's just a general, Janata body, gentle body. That's enough, let it drag around. So what? Make it into a yoga yatana rather than a bhoga yatana. Ayatana means a vehicle for yoga rather than bhoga. No, but I can't even do down dog. We are not talking. Speaking of dogs, I can't even do down dog. We are not talking of asanas. We are talking of yoga, of non-complaining. Yoga of practicing being an appreciative, non-demanding, uncomplaining, contented being. That is the yoga. And for that you need a body. Apyayant mamangani. So all the organs of actions, let them do this. Let them be okay. It's a prayer. So it's a prayer from the Upanishad. It's very holy, very, very sacred. Vak, very important. Vak means what? The way you walk. Vak, speech. Yeah, speech is very important because they give the words, to the thoughts. And they make the unreal real. You say 3-4 times, I feel sick, I feel sick, I feel sick. Suddenly you will have fever. You try this. Try this at home on a weekend when you don't have anywhere to go and nothing to do. Just say, I have so much pain. Ayo, it's paining here. Ayo, it's paining there. Ayo, I can't get up. Oh, I have a heart condition. Suddenly you will develop palpitations. If they are not there. If they are there already, then they will become more. Then you say, oh, I think I should check my blood pressure. Then it will say, oh my God, it can't even register. It's become so high. Oh no. Everything is like that. Everything is like that. And so, therefore, Vak, very important. What is it that you articulate? Am I articulating non-judgment, uncomplaining, appreciation for everything, including myself? Am I articulating the contentment that I am, or am I articulating repeatedly the Viparīta Bhāvanā, the discontentment all the time? That is the reality check. Start at the beginning of the day. Check this out. Vak, pranaha, the way one breathes. There is a rajasic breathing which is called hyperventilation. There is a tamasic breathing, too hard to breathe. Inhale, exhale. Yeah. Tamasic breathing is where the exhales are just sighing all the time. So, the breathing also expression of that vibrant, dynamic, uncomplaining, appreciative, contented, non-demanding being. And then what? Vak pranaha chakshuhu. Yes. As soon as you look at the house, oh no, it's terrible. Why do I live here? Oh, I don't know why it's so crowded. Other people's houses are so nice. Mine has got so many things. I think I should get rid of everything. But then, I live with other people and most of the things belong to the others. So what do? Maybe I should leave. Maybe I should stay. Appreciative. What you look. That's why they say the glance of the devatas is called, it's called nibhekshana. Or what is that called, how do you translate that? Nibhekshana means a benevolent glance, loving, benevolent glance. When you see the glance of the Buddha in meditation, there is no tension in the eyes. You see the devatas, there is no tension. There's only attention. There is no tension. So that is the kind of glance I develop. Yeah. The furrow in the brows is gone. I develop that glance. First I apply it towards myself. I look upon myself with kindness. And when I look upon myself with kindness, that's all that is needed, because the whole Jagat is sitting right here. Right here is the Jagat. It's enough. Most of the job is done. When you look upon yourself with kindness, then the whole world starts to change its color. And the whole world, and then you see the whole world populated with appreciative, non-demanding, contented, non-complaining beings. If all is right with me, all is right with the world. Everything starts here and stops here. Vāk prānas chakshush shrotram, same thing. Listening, hearing. Balam, let my strength be used in the right way for the teachings to prosper within this body-mind complex. Indriyani cha sarvani, all the organs of actions which haven't been talked about here, let them also be in service of this teaching, in service of you, Ishvara, so that I know that I am you. Why? Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam. Upanishad means Upanishad. Upanishadam, born of the Upanishads. Sarvam, all that is here is born of that Brahman, which is born of the Upanishad. Brahman is not born out of the Upanishad. The knowledge of Brahman is born out of the Upanishad. Brahman is Aja, unborn. Brahman is you. Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam. This Brahman, which is known to me through the words of the Upanishad, let me see everything as that. Loving, unconditioned, uncomplaining, non-demanding, appreciative being. Very important. This part you can memorize and say in the mornings. Maham Brahma Nira Kuryam. Maham Brahma Nira Kuryam. Mama Brahma Nirakarot. This much you can say. Maham Brahma. Ma means may I not. Ma means don't. So may I not what? Brahma Nirakuryam. Negate this reality that this whole Jagat, including this body, mind, sense complex, is an appreciative, what? Non-demanding, contented, uncomplaining, conscious being. May I not deny this reality. May I never go to the place where I deny this reality, because that would be a very sad situation. And the next line, Mama Brahma Nirakarot. May Brahman never deny me as an uncomplaining, unconditionally loving, non-demanding, appreciative being. Why will Brahman deny? Brahman means Bhagavan. Why will Bhagavan deny me? Bhagavan won't deny me, it's my own projection. Where the words of the Upanishad, the words of the Guru, and where Ishvara stops speaking to me, where I feel abandoned by the teachings. May that never happen. Mama Brahma Nirakarot. Mama Brahma Nirakarot. Maham Brahma Nirakuryam. Yeah, these two things, sentences you say, and then you know the meanings. That itself is Nididhyasana. Anirakaranam astu means let there be all around non-negation. I am negating negation here of all kinds. Anirakaranam astu, and let there be no, let there be negation of all negativity for me. Anirakaranam me astu. Let me not negate anything. Let there be no negation of the truth. Let me not negate anything. And then, how will I not negate all these truths of the Upanishad? How will be I in sync and in tandem with the truths of the Upanishad? It says that, Mama Brahma Anirakaranam astu, Anirakaranam me astu, tad atmani nirate yad upanishadsu dharmaha te mayi santu. Those qualifications that make me be in a place of contentment, non-opposition, acceptance, appreciative stance, and an unconditionally loving place. Those qualifications that help me to do that are where? In the Upanishads. Shama, Dama, Upariti, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam, all these things that we constantly talk about. Upanishadsu dharmaha, those dharmas, those attributes which help me to not negate, which are again described in the Upanishad. Nirate atmani, let them be there in me unstoppably, without a pause. Let them not just go away. Let all those adhikaritvam lessons from the past of a resolved mind and letting go and shraddha and all these things, trust, all these things, let them be there constantly. Nirate. Te mayi santu, let them be in me. Te mayi santu, let them abide in me. Because when they abide in me, then it's easy to be a non-demanding, appreciative, uncomplaining, contented, conscious being. This is what is Nididhyasanam. Do it again and again and again and again and again and again till it becomes not your second nature, your first nature. Because that is your nature. That is your nature. And on the days you're feeling contrary to this, recognize it as Viparīta Bhāvanā. Don't put it on the throne. So just recount what happened to the dog that was made the king of the city. And, just don't. Sometimes, it's good to work with the pattern. Sometimes it's good to starve it. Sometimes, there are tumors that grow in strange places in the body that are inoperable. You can't go and cut and operate because it happens to be in the brain, or it happens to be along with so many nerves and things which are important. You can't cut everything. So doctors have devised a way. They do this with fibroids as well. So these kinds of fibrous tumors, they are bad and dangerous because they feed off the nutrients of the body. The doctors have devised a way where they just put something, they send a catheter to the mouth of this tumor and just stop it, cauterize it right there so that no blood is flowing, no food is going to the tumor, and then it shrivels up eventually and dies off. Of course, it causes a lot of pain when it does that. Same thing with the patterns. starve them on bread and water, dry bread and water. Don't give them all the vital vitals and let them sap your strength. Don't give it the time of the change the channel. Change the channel, I'm sick of this channel, I'm sick of the rerun here, the same thing, giving a new name to rerun. Yeah. I'm sick of this. Change the channel. And what does it entail in the life? Go do something else. Take a break. Go do something different. Often it's just that. Get up from the place, from the house. Go do something else. And usually it is the reaching out actions that help you to, reset this button to understand that you are an appreciative, non-complaining, non-demanding, contented and conscious being. Yeah. We just need to reach out. And yesterday we, talked about how to reach out. Sometimes it's very difficult because we don't have the time in our lives. So yesterday at dinner I was saying, start with a pet rock. Reach out to it. They sell these, everybody is making money. So they draw paint one heart over the rock and sell it as a pet rock. Then one graduates to chia pet. You reach out to that, water it, and it does a few things. I don't know what. Flaxseed pet. And then what? Potted plant. Yeah. Then you go to potted plant. Little more things, water and sunlight you show, because you have to come out of this, sickening feeling inside. The only way is to reach out to something else. And you can't do big time charity because, you don't have the, space for it in the heart or in the pocketbook. So therefore, potted plant it is. You care for it. And then you graduate to what? What did I say? Fish. Yeah. Here a little more. Sunlight, water and feeding is required maybe once or twice a week. You have to put some food in the tank and clean the tank and all these things. Fish. And then if you are able to manage the fish, then what? After that? Yeah, and here I have to make a note. I have cut out all the reptilian and the rodent family because I really don't think we should keep them as pets. Yeah, they're meant to be in the wild. Snakes, scorpions, turtles, and rats, and guinea pigs. Yeah. So we'll skip to kitty. Kitty also takes care of itself. That's why, it doesn't care whether you are there or not most of the time. Even if it cares, it doesn't show. Then after that, doggy. Much more care. Much more, it needs you much more than the cat. And then what? You go back to the pet rock, call it Shiva. This time with understanding. That's all it is. That's why the ancients never bothered with pet rock. They went straight to Shiva if you are a Shaivite, or Saligrama, another kind of pet rock with little insignia of Vishnu. Very nice. Has the same thing. So go back to the altar. The altar is the drawing board from where you draw the inspiration to continue to be an appreciative, uncomplaining, non-demanding, contented being. Yeah, conscious being. This is what it is. We help ourselves. And then we have the impetus to help others as well. And sometimes it is by helping others we'll help ourselves. Sometimes we help ourselves and then we reach out to others. But this reaching out is important because otherwise one festers in all this, mind chatter that is contrary to who you are. So reach out, help out. Look, there's a lot of people hurting, in pain, in sorrow. It doesn't take money. Sometimes it doesn't even take a time. Just a kind word and, just an acknowledgement. Yes, I see that you're having a hard day. Just a smile. That I was reading somewhere that the Inuit greeting, the Inuits, how they greet one another is by saying, they don't have they never had a greeting. It was just smiling at one another. And recently, a few centuries ago, they started the greeting is, I smile at you. That is the greeting. I smile at you. You are frowning, doesn't matter. I still am smiling at you. Taking care of something other than oneself forces one to grow up to be the truth, really, and grow out of these feelings which threaten to overpower and overwhelm. And finally, there's something to be said of gratitude, thankfulness for having a body, even though it's a draggy body. Thankfulness that one is in a position to breathe, one is in the position to notice things in the Jagat. And, in a way, Vedanta doesn't talk about thankfulness because really speaking, it is one's nature. But it is something that is emphasized these days by modern psychology. And because in Vedanta, in the Indian culture, there is really no word for thank you or sorry. It's a thankless and unapologetic culture. And it's on purpose because, who are you going to thank and for what? Because everything comes from Bhagavan. But here it's not so much, perhaps we shouldn't use the word gratitude so much as an acknowledgement that everything is given. And that appreciation is directed towards that Ishvara which has given everything. And nowadays they talk a lot about living in gratitude. That's what they mean, even though they haven't studied the Upanishads. There's something to be said about that. The more thankful I am, the more I am in sync with the truth of my nature. Which is? Appreciative? Contented? Conscious? Aware, alert, loving, unconditionally. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Any questions? Yes.
You're going to love this one. I need some stock phrases, please.
Yeah.
And you gave me one. So, much of the time,
Yeah.
when the word annoying or irritating,
Mm-hmm.
any of those category of words come in,
Yeah.
then I'm perfectly able to cope and compassion. I can go back to what I think compassion is. And
Yeah.
I can move forward.
Yeah.
When something comes unexpected, the unexpected
Hit.
hits on the head.
Yeah.
Usually from an unexpected quarter.
Yeah.
Then the pattern overrides
Yes.
anything,
Yes.
and there's lots of tall peaks, and the brain is not engaged in anything other than 4-year-old patterns of defense.
Yeah.
But it's not whining. It's a reactive response. So when reactive response occurs, because it does occur, and I can do all of these things, then I'm sure it will lessen over time.
Yeah.
But I need some stock phrases
Mm-hmm.
because this is not engaged.
Yeah, this is not engaged.
This wants to engage.
Yes. Neti, neti, neti. That's the stock phrase. Say it 3 times. Yes. Not this, not this. This is not, this is not it. This is not it. This is not it. Na iti, neti. Neti, neti, neti. Yeah. Not to be confused for neti pot. Actually, that is netti. It's not neti, it is netti. Netti means sinus. But America has made it into neti. That's not what neti we are talking about. Neti, neti means not this, not this. This is not I, this is not I. You negate the negativity. Yeah.
Just a quick sharing of this appreciative, non-complaining. So it's ANC.
Ah.
In Western medicine, I know you like associations,
Ah.
but in Western medicine, if you've had chemotherapy and you've had all this assault and your white blood cell count, which you can't be out in the world without some immunity.
Yeah.
Right? And so they don't just check your counts to see, they do a calculation, and it's called an ANC.
Ah.
And then if your ANC is above a certain number, then you can go out in the world. If it's not, you need a mask.
Ah.
So that is what.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is our pulse. The
Yeah.
ANC.
The ANC, yes. Oh, this is the way to spiritual progress, really. Because the more we practice this way, because this is, this is transcending the classes, this is in between the classes. So when we practice this way, then the teachings, just take care of themselves. And see how much you all have grown. I see that. Very proud of you, very happy. Wonderful. Tathastu. And then it is so difficult to be this individual with your nearest one. Yeah. That will be the final test, correct? Absolutely right. Yeah. Leelaji, I want to talk to you. Where shall we have the classes? On the 4th and 5th of August, 4th, 5th and 6th morning. Is your house available? Is it still there? Or is it gone? Yeah? Are you there? Looks like she is gone. Yeah, so I want to talk to you about that. So if you have a chance, you can write to me and see and let me know where we can hold the classes for the 4th, 5th and 6th of August in DC, okay? All right. Om Tat Sat, there is a Homa to go to, and it's a good thing to go after this, because anything that is other than appreciative and complaining, yeah, and other than uncomplaining, other than contented, can be just, you can pray to the fire to take it away. Om. Yeah, call Deshpandes and tell them the class has run over and we are leaving right now. Yeah, give, please give. Oh, they're getting that? Awesome. Really? Oh, wonderful. Yeah, whatever. Narayana to the rescue. Okay, here. And one of this also. Please, yeah. Do that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, see you again, 4 o'clock. Yeah, you write to me, or actually let's have a phone talk today. And let's find a place to do that, somewhere centrally in the Bethesda area. Yeah.
Come to the temple.
Why? Oh, you have to do things? Okay. Come. now we have a function at the temple. Maybe afterwards I'll call you or something. We'll talk.
May I drive you?
Yes.
I'll take the other.
Huh?
Perfect teaching.
Ah, good. I think you spoke to everyone.
You say the teaching is heavy, but you give us a good workout.
Yeah, very good. Yes. Oh. I'm so glad you came here for the boys. All three of them. Oh, thank you.
I'll bring my children to Bhāvanā.
Yes,
So they can see.
yes, absolutely. Shorty, nice. Glad you're here. Wonderful. Are you coming to the Homa? Wonderful. Very nice. Is this how you would interpret the full tarot card?
It's one way.
Oh,
Yes, there's
good.
others. It's both
Yeah.
the beginning and the end.
And the end, yes. Wonderful.
But I really appreciated hearing you talking about the flow.
It was all for you.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh. It's a full circle, yeah.
Yes, yes. So I get the impression that the thing for me to do is to, in this scripted life that we practice over and over again,
Yeah.
we don't even think about our play, I'm supposed to become improvisational.
Yes. Yeah, no script. Improvise. And the improvise is already there because it's the truth of who you are. Oh. Yeah, surprise yourself and others. That's
Yeah. But only dharmically.
yes. Oh. I'll see you later. Yes. And see you all at 4 o'clock our time, which is whatever time you are at. We are having another talk. I don't know on what. They'll tell me. So I'll talk on that. Okay? Yeah. Oh, all the best. See you again 4 o'clock our time.